Mommy, no. Mommy, no. Wait, no. Mommy has some water. Please, no. Please, over your bed. Yay. That's rich. Here, you. I love you. Love you more. Love you more. I love her.
All right.
Oh boy. Mommy, mouth. Just go back. Mommy, mouth. In just a minute. Look. They're eating in the Great Hall. Are we gonna go there? Yeah. Do you want to go visit Harry Potter? Look. Is that Harry? And Neville? Mommy, mouth. Watch. Oh.
Yeah, I got a nice looking red coris. Thought I had a yellow coris and came home and found them in the back of the fish tank. Words can't even describe how aggravated and pedoed I am, let me tell you.
What are you doing?
What's going on, Salty Reef? So I'll just put yellow and red coris to talk about if you guys have them. They're really nice. I like them. Awesome pest control. Um, but yeah, I had him since he was little, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Yeah, I went through two coris wrasses before I found this one, and he was super tiny, and he grew out to be about 4 inches, and he was healthy. And last night I left my moonlights on, and I'm wondering if that caused him to swim and act crazy. And I didn't have my screen top on either, and sure enough, man, I'm just, dude. It's like taking your heart and just squeezing it. You know, I mean, I don't. It's like a fish, but I don't have cats or dogs or birds or reptiles. You know, these are like my. Used to eat from my hand, everything, dude. You can just tell I'm just aggravated. So I'm just venting, and hopefully I can find another one that will adapt and I can feed, and I don't know. I'm a little soft right now, you know. Yeah, that's. It's almost like, what's up, Reef Keeper? What's up, Kenzie? Um, yeah, it's just one of those things where you can always get another one, but to have his type of mentality and his, like, just, I mean, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but man, the thing had, like, it knew when I was feeding and just ate from my hand, and just awesome. Just, I don't know. It sucks. Then I lost my yellow eye I'm sorry, my yellow eye oh, I've drawn a blank now. My yellow eye coltang after 7 years just the other day. So I lost two fish already within a week, and it hit home, man. Let me tell you. It sucks, guys. Let me tell you. Yeah, I just kind of jerry rigged mine. I got the screen from like Innovative Marine. I'm using PVC right now, and I'm actually gonna build a frame, and then I'll be able to make it more professional looking. But what's going on, Jeeves? Yeah, it just I had him when he was like 1 inch long, so I mean maybe an inch and a half, and but yeah, I mean we come attached. I mean I do anyways. I come attached to my reef is like my wife will even tell you it's everything for me. It's like I mean I think about my reef 24/7 when I'm at work. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I didn't buy the Innovative Marine one. I just bought the screen part. It was like rolled up. And what's up, Lisa?
I miss some milk. I miss some milk.
So I'm gonna take like a piece of wood, or I don't know, maybe just build like a small frame,
I miss
and then
I miss
staple it on there somehow, or sandwich it between two pieces of wood. But I'll make it nice and then paint it with like Rust-Oleum paint.
Okay, let's go get it.
But yeah, it just, man, dude.
Let's go get them.
No, I only have the mother colony. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got like 6 nice size pieces that are still hanging on, and I got a few smaller frags that are iffy, but we'll see. I'm hoping most of these will take. I think I caught it in time where I mean, I still lost everything, but the whole colony almost, but because it's a fast grower, so I think it's something with the water, but it's all right. Gave it some room. I think I have a lot of chemical warfare because of all the corals too close together. I mean, it could be a number of things. So to answer your question, I still didn't find out exactly. I just been doing water changes, and I just hope where I placed all the pieces, they start encrusting, and hopefully they'll grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the screens for like windows. I'm going to do
You go visit Hogwarts?
probably a
Hogwarts Express train?
PVC wood frame. So in other words, I'm going to cut like make a 1-inch frame. Then I'm going to screw PVC all the way around the top. And then I'm going to place that on my acrylic top so that the wood doesn't get water logged or damaged or saltcrete or anything.
Let's go get them.
It's kind of like how I have it now, but it's not good. But I hope I find a decent coris wrasse, a yellow one. But other than that, everything's good. Tank's clean, and we'll see what the outcome is. Yeah, aluminum is the way to go. Aluminum is the way to go. Chimp the Reefer, what's up, man?
You want to say hi to Julie's friend? Want to say hi? Tell him you're a shark.
But I got some mangrove trees. I had one die on me already. I don't think I'll be doing this again. I thought these were going to be easy to take care of, man, but
That's funny. Green thumb with everything.
yeah, I'm just hopefully.
You gotta water that out.
Yeah, I was thinking too. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking about going to Home Depot and just buy some acrylic and just cut 3 squares and put it right over the holes. But my biggest thing is I don't want to not have enough light after a while. I think those get pretty crappy, you know. What's going on, Murph? Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I could do that. Make them shine again. I got to do that to the tops. I'm gonna do that. I gotta.
It's cold.
Sorry to hear about that. Click clack. Click clack, and you don't stop. But yeah, my red chorus is probably 5 inches. It's pretty sick. It's awesome. I couldn't believe. I mean, it's a beautiful fish.
Try some?
The yellow and the red and all the dots. I mean, it's gorgeous. He's eating like a champ. I don't know where he's at now. Is he? You see him in there?
No, but I haven't seen any shampoo.
He's probably sleeping. You got to see when they pop their head up. When they come out of the sand, they stick their head out, and they'll just like. You know. Ooh. Tristan, what's going on?
Yeah.
I think he did probably go to sleep. I'll get on there, Tristan. I think I did like your video though. With the new setup, or did you just post another one? I've been at work. I didn't get in there to check it out. You got a nice freaking fish tank, dude. Let me tell you. I watch Rico's. He's got his wood and he needs to get some water in that fish tank. But one or two people thought I was serious when I said I was rich and flew 176 of my friends. I could see that. You got a nice pad too. I'm super tired, man. I don't know if I can amuse you guys by myself here. I don't know about Rich, but I know he ain't hurting for money. Much love there, Tristan. Just saying.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's going on, man?
And just chilling. I had the guys doing my cabinet over here earlier today.
You got a nice tank, dude.
Appreciate it. Just
You
just
got
work.
some knowledge up in there, man.
Nah, I didn't buy all that shit overnight. That's years.
I'm
man.
losing stuff.
My first skimmer was a C clone. My first power head was one of those 4 for $20 jobbies off of Amazon. Funny enough, I still got like 3 of those power heads, man. They still work. They're great for
Yeah.
mixing salt.
Oh yeah, just dude, man, I lost my yellow coris wrasse today, man.
I heard, man. I heard. I was
Dude,
sorry to hear that. Yellow coris wrasse is probably like I want to say it's one of the cheapest fish in the hobby, and at the same time, it's one of like the real most useful fish that
yeah,
I've ever.
beneficial, right?
They eat
Yeah,
everything. They're usually not jerks to the rest of the fish in the tank, and them guys they're like a safe version of a 6 line. They eat everything, flatworms,
yeah, yeah,
bed bugs, you name it.
yeah, yeah. It sucks, but I thought it was gonna be cool bringing home the red chorus, and I'll have the red and the yellow. And I'm thinking, man, what the hell's going on here? I don't see my yellow chorus wrasse. I looked on the floor in the living room. I'm like, and then I looked at behind the fish tank, and sure enough, he looks like he's been there for more than just a few hours.
Yeah, one of the funniest things, man, is that I like, a lot of folks go after like really big tangs and stuff like that. And, I kind of stray away from fish that are too expensive, you know. But if I get a good deal or if I could trade for it, if I'm like selling a bunch of frags, then I might take a risk on a more expensive fish. But for me, I think like 2 or 3 tanks, kind of like I have in my tank. But I like to focus on a lot of the small fish. And what I like about the small fish is that you can have a whole bunch of them. Like you can have 5 wrasses and it won't equal the bio load that like one, you know, unicorn tang or flamingo tang can put out in terms of poop. But the funny thing about them is that you might not see some of these fish for days or weeks. And then all of a sudden you start looking at them, looking at your tank, and you're like, where is this guy? Where is this guy? And sure enough, you check an overflow, you check in your sump, man, and there they are. They're just swimming around there. But yeah, I tend
Right.
not to like go too crazy about it. But I do remember one of the funniest fish I ever had was a not a yellow coarse wrasse. It was a green coarse wrasse.
Green, yeah.
Yeah, and I never saw the fish. I put him in the tank. I saw him swim around maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, this guy's good. And I never saw him again. I didn't see that fish for a year. And when I was moving and I broke down my tank and started moving out the rocks and the corals and stuff, I got down to like 2 or 3 pieces of live rock left, and there he was. Just fat, healthy. I think legitimately he never really swam in front, and he just kind of made his house in the back and just lived there forever.
Right
But
on.
like jawfish do that a lot too, like pearly scale jawfish, and they'll make a little tunnel in the back of your rock work where it's not much action going on, and you'll never see those guys. Never.
Right. Yeah, I don't have very many like expensive. I got damsels. I got 5 springers. My Banggai cardinals, 2 clowns, cleaner wrasse. I had a chorus wrasse. Now I got the red one. Um, purple tang, chevron tang, Midas blenny, bicolor goby or whatever you want to call that. I mean, I don't have I don't have crazy fish, but tank's 240, so it's 7 foot by 2 by 27. So I mean, I got room, but stop, Jay. Um, yeah, I like smaller fish too. I like to get my one show fish. Obviously, he's a rescue. Is a chevron tang, but all my other fish are pretty small.
Yeah, that's what I like about the smaller fish. They're just like you can have so many of them, and I've always told myself that especially with this tank, if I ever find myself in a situation where I lose all my fish for whatever reason, I'm like legitimately going to buy like 100 blue damsels.
Right.
And that will be the only fish in the tank. It'll just be SPS, softies, and 100 blue damsels.
Yeah, like green chromas, like how they like, or you know what I mean? Like they could swim together and just.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I want to get like a Watchman goby and like you know what I mean. I want to get some like I just put some rubble in my tank like in the front. I'm gonna let it acclimate, but then they'll find like their little home and get one of those shrimp that pistol shrimp that like likes to sleep with them and clean the house and um
gonna get you a Fred and Ethel fish. Now, I'm telling you, man, you guys in the chat can hold me to it. If I lose all my fish, I'm getting 100 blue damsels, and I'm throwing them all in the tank. No quarantine, no nothing. Just go
right.
do it. I mean, honestly, 100 blue damsels will look really beautiful in just about any, like in a big enough tank. Naturally, you don't want to throw them in a 20-gallon, but like 100 blue damsels, I mean, just the amount of color and the activity and the antics that they'll get up to, I think it'd actually make a good display tank. You know, people don't give credit too much to, $5 damsels anymore. It's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I just couldn't believe it too, man. I was talking to the LFS yesterday because I work with them on 2 days a week just for extra cash. It helps me maintain my. I mean, I got a full-time job, but just because I'm into the fish tank so much, just like as we all are. But I was like, man, I haven't lost my wrasses or anything. I don't have a screen on there, blah, blah, blah. And then he got these red ones in. I was like, man, I'm going to take one of them. And then sure enough, I get home today and he's on the fucking floor, dude.
That sucks, man. I built one of those, like, I'm waiting for to order a nice top from Top Lids. I'm gonna get a nice one from them. And it's gonna be in 3 parts, because it's 8 foot long. I don't think they're gonna want to ship an 8 foot long top, and plus it'll probably flex too much. But up and until then, I'm pretty good with. I built 3 little tops out of the screen door stuff, and it's been doing well. It's been doing really good for me. One of the things I actually found that stops a lot of fish from jumping, if you can do it, is to have a lot of surface agitation, like a
All
lot
right.
of movement up near the surface. I think a lot of fish tend to jump less if you do that. Because
Yeah.
it kind of gives them like a natural barrier, I would think, that's saying, hey, that's the surface of the water. The rest of the water doesn't move like that. So I'm going to stay away from that.
Right. I was thinking about using that plastic PVC for it's at Home Depot, Lowe's and stuff. It's almost like it's for like paneling for like showers and stuff. It's got like a groove, and then I was gonna buy the rope, the rubber stuff for like an actual screen, and then build me a frame out of that, and then put the screen in there, and then push that like basic. I'm gonna do a video on it. I think it'll work, and then I don't got to worry about it corroding or anything like that. And it'll be low profile and
You want to get real snazzy, you could get the PVC like molding. It's made out of PVC, and they come in like 1 inch strips.
yeah,
1 inch by 8 foot strips, and you can actually just use regular weld-on or any type of acrylic type glue to glue the PVC together. Even like I used
super glue. No.
no, I used like PVC glue, PVC cement glue, regular
Oh
PVC, like
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
bulkheads and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
but I just used that, and I glued I glued them together to make a stand for my skimmer. So it floats though. It does float. The PVC stuff does float, so you got to make sure your skimmer is heavy enough to weigh it down. But it makes a great skimmer stand. But you could probably use that stuff and somehow tack the mesh around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like keep it nice and tight. But or if you like got a really steady hand, you can get yourself a router and kind of route out a channel in the PVC stuff, and then use a spline in that to make yourself
That's what
a
they're
nice
called,
hat.
splines.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you get like a 1/4 inch rod, a straight a 1/4 inch router bit. Put it
yep,
like at a depth of of like 5/16 or something like that, and just route a channel. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be
right.
along the edges, so that you can kind of just lay the nylon stuff across it and put the
Yep,
spline in it. So I mean, there's a lot of DIY ways. Only thing it'll block light. You know what I mean? Like the PVC uh thing, the PVC molding is it's not see through. It's it's solid white. But if it's on the edge of your tank, it should
yeah,
be all
that's
right.
fine. Yep, yep. But yeah, other than that, man, I got some plans. I want to get a. I'm debating on if I'm getting the EL or the whole the full setup for Apex. I'm still debating. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out
So
if I'm
so
gonna do everything. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna do like the floor, I think I'm at the point where I don't have like crazy stuff. I got a lot of SPS, but it's not nothing high end. I got some
all right.
millies. So long story short, my tank is full. It's healthy. It's thriving. But now I want to get into more of like the system things, stuff that I can tinker with without putting my hands in the tank. So get like all the different apex things little by little, the flow going in, the flow coming out.
So okay, when I think about why someone would get the EL versus like the full on Apex, I consider two things, right? Salinity probes are notoriously expensive, notoriously inaccurate a lot of the time. And they're hell on earth to calibrate, and you do need to calibrate it fairly often to make sure that it holds calibration. And unless you have some type of monitoring or triggers in your programming to react to ORP changes, you've pretty much eliminated ORP probes, a salinity probe, right?
Right.
And then yeah, ORP and salinity probe. So those are probably the two things that make the Apex full more expensive than the regular. you know, so if you don't have anything built around needing to know what your salinity is in terms of triggers, or if you're not going to take the time to calibrate your salinity probe, however they tell you to do it, I don't know if it's monthly or every 2 or 3 months, or if you see a drift in the salinity over time to calibrate it then you're better off getting the 500 EL, considering that it will do 99.9% of everything else that you want it to do, and it still comes with the fancy spancy EB832.
Right.
Now, if you already have an Apex and all you care about is maybe being able to support Trident, or maybe having a faster operating system or processor, to make things a little bit snappier or something like that, then you're better off spending $300 and getting just the brain. You know what I mean? If you want to just upgrade to Trident or something like that. But for $500, you could probably flip your old Apex and get an EL at $100, and you'll have the newest Apex plus the newest EB832, and it'll still work with all of your old components. So, it's a trade off. I mean, they priced it at a competitive level. So one would
Yeah, I
have
was
to think.
actually checking them out at Aquashella. They had them out on display. I mean, like you said, everything is the same except for the ORP and whatever the other thing is. It's like a 12 amp or the power. There's like a 12 low voltage power or something for it. So you would have to get the PM1 and PM2 module in order to run the ORP and the other whatever the low voltage thing is. Like if I don't if I recall. Not sure. Make sure my fish didn't jump through the net.
Man, I don't know. Fell out.
Oh,
Am I still in it?
oh.
Test. Test. Hey, DM, can you hear me?
What'd you say, Tristan?
No, I was making sure that you can still hear me. I don't know what happened to Hangouts chat.
I just wanted to make sure I don't see that my big red coris. I got the net kind of jerry rigged up on top, but I wanted to make sure he wasn't flipping around on the back of the tank. Dude, I'm like, oh, paranoid. I'm so aggravated, man. I'm like, I want to shave my head and just run through a wall. Dude. It's hard to get one that's like really adapted. You know what I mean? It's always that risk when you buy a new fish that something might. I mean, I know that it ain't terribly expensive. It's just that it was my fish, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. These fish have a finite life, unfortunately, like anything else, and you can't always be there to protect them every single step of the way. But if you're telling yourself that you're going to put steps in place to make sure that it doesn't happen again, then you're already on the right track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, it was a painful one, you know? Fuck. Anyways, I don't want to think about it anymore. But, yeah, I don't even have an apex. I got a reef keeper for just just for the temperature and whatever, and it just runs certain things. But this would be like the big hurrah for me to like I can get rid of more plugs, get everything consolidated into one, you know.
Yeah. Hey, but before you run out and buy an Apex, I would wait for another 2 weeks or so till the end of the month, because I believe Neptune is going to be releasing some cool stuff that may make them a very, very smart contender for Apex.
Wait, somebody, or they are?
Ecotech Marine.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ecotech Marine is just a controllable power bar away from having a full-fledged controller.
Really? Because everything I have, yeah, I got 3 MP40s, I got 2 M1s, one for my skimmer, one for my return, which is on
Right.
low.
And if you have a reef link controlling all that stuff, then
Yeah, I got a reef
you're
link.
99.9% of the way there. All Ecotech has to do is release a power bar with 3 ports on it for testing salinity, ORP, or pH.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
And they
and
have a
then
full controller.
yep. Yeah, I love, dude. I ain't gonna lie, dude. Ecotech, their customer service, and they were at the show at Aquashella. They are. I don't care who works for them. They are all the most politest people I've ever met. I mean, they must be getting paid bank because it ain't minimum wage. Because you know how minimum wage people are. They don't care about their job, dude. These people are like full fledged into it to win it. Like they got to be getting compensated or something because they are so effing polite, dude.
Well, if you look at the Ecotech page, and you watch how the company got started, it's two guys met in college, and had a product that they created. It flopped. They got more funding. They created a new product, and it really took off. And they've been growing from that base for a long time. And you think about anybody who has that type of rough start can realize what it's like for hiring people and expecting them to help you accomplish your dream. So
Yeah.
I would like to think that they would take care of their employees, and if they're going to do that, well, then you got to get people who really like what they do and enjoy their job. So in that sense, you're going to find that, if you have a pleasant environment to work in, people are going to be a lot, more likely to work with you.
Yeah, I talked to this one and at the show, and she was like, "No, I don't even own a fish tank. I just love like the science behind the way Ecotech is making this and that, and we're all I do is learn about it and I demonstrate it and I go to show and talk about it and blah blah blah." I was like, and then there are other people who are like, "Yeah, I got a nice rig, I got everything, and I try everything out and this." But I mean, they're so polite talking. If you had any problem, I mean, you have anything wrong with your pump, just call us and send it to us, and we'll fix it. Like they're like guarantee their stuff. So I mean, I bet you any of my money I could send my pumps in there right now and tell them something was wrong or whatever. If they did, they would fix it for me for free. I mean, I have that much faith in them. Like you spend $350 for a pump. I mean,
Yeah, and there you have it, right? Reefers and aquarists in general are a very small community, a very close community, and voices carry a long way because it's one of the few hobbies that still thrive in message boards and forums, and it's not as mainstream. You're not going to walk into Walmart and pick up a Vortex, you know what I mean? So because it's not mainstream, it's very important for companies like Ecotech, who has a very limited fan base and user base, to make sure that they maintain their reputation. So they're going to do what they need to do. Unfortunately for the consumer, it means that products won't be cheap. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the fact that they can replace or fix your pump for free means that somebody stays employed, means that their bottom margin and their profit margin is maintained, regardless of how many free pumps they need to give away or
right?
fix. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So it's
I
not going
think
to be
we got.
cheap. It's a payoff.
I mean, and they can put a price tag on it too because they know they first of all they stand by what they have, and then on top of that, they know how crazy we are, especially in the reef hobby, that we'll spend the money for. And you can see now what in the last 5 years or so they started to come out with like freshwater lights and this and that and stuff like that by the same name. So I feel like they do have something going, especially Ecotech. I mean, look, they bought AI out.
Yeah.
I mean, Radiant's AIs. I mean, you can't get. I don't think there's anything out there that's better than that company. You know,
I definitely feel like if they've set a standard, and
for the
one
price range. I mean, I don't think you can beat
yeah,
them.
for the price range,
Sure, you can
but
spend $5,000 for a light fixture and it'll do wonders. You know what I mean?
yeah, but think about what's at risk in our hobby versus what's at risk in other people's hobby. And other Okay, so if you're a car enthusiast, right, your engine blows up, it's going to be expensive, but you can replace an engine. Okay, your muffler falls off, your body panel gets dented, you can paint it, you can scratch it, you can fix it. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do to make it work again. That's a hobby. It's easy to be replaced. Not much time is invested there, unless it's a 100% loss or something like that.
Right.
In a reef tank, though, what happens if you're not home and your return pump dies? What happens if you're not home, or even if you are home or whatever, but your return pump dies or your power heads inside of the tank die? Have you ever seen what happens if you leave a reef tank without flow for like 2 or 3 days?
I
It
haven't.
becomes
I don't want to.
Yeah, it becomes a swamp. It becomes like a low oxygen swamp of death. You know what I mean? Without flow. So there's a lot riding on it, and you know, I would say call me elitist, but even when I used cheaper equipment, when I was using, older pumps or cheaper pumps or whatever for return, I always had 2 or 3 of them in case one died. And these days, with the better quality pumps, you have less of a fear of your return pump dying or something like that. So you're more willing to invest $200 or $300 in just a return pump, because you know that of anything else on your tank that could possibly fail, that's probably the one thing that won't.
Right.
And I think that's really important when you're looking at
Battery
how much
backups
to
are
pay
cool.
for it.
I mean,
Yeah.
10 years, 15 years ago, man, we didn't have that. I mean, I know I didn't. I remember starting. I mean, I never had a big tank, but stuff went out. I mean, there was nothing to do. You know what I mean? Like, you go out and run to your local LFS and try to find another pump, or you know what I mean, an air pump, or now they got battery backups that are compliant with our systems now. Like, you can just plug your power head in there and it'll run for 30 hours.
Yeah, and that's some of the coolest things that I've seen come out of it. And it kind of strikes me as odd where a company like Ecotech has spent the time developed the battery backup. All it is a battery, and some resistors or whatever, inline fuses or whatnot to make it work. But they came out with it and they charge a premium for it. For a standard battery you could buy on eBay for like $60. Just that it's in a nice case or whatever, and it plugs
Yep.
in seamlessly with your pump. But then you have a company like Neptune that didn't think to say like, hey, we could build a little module that can handle the power or whatever, and allow you to plug your pumps into it or plug your wave makers into it, and we can sell it for $49.99, and we can allow people to use whatever the hell they want to use as a power source, whether it's a car battery, a UPS, or whatever. But we know with the sophisticated, fusion interface that we can, program all kinds of cool stuff to manage power in the case of a power loss. But, they kind of leave that up to the reefer to DIY something instead of providing something that can make that
I'm
interface a little
wondering
bit
too,
better.
though. Don't you think that maybe they, like, I know you're saying, why didn't they think of that before, like Ecotech, or why didn't they thought about everything else but went around that? I mean, that would be the biggest. Now that we sit back and think about it, wouldn't that be one of the biggest things that we all think about, fresh or saltwater hobbyists? What do we do if there's a power failure? Why couldn't we? You think that would have been something they did first to run
that's
multiple,
what I'm saying.
any source, like any generic pumps, anything,
Yeah, because if
and they
Apex is
didn't?
the king of DIY and open source and allowing you to use your own modules and allowing you to use your own batteries and components and stuff like that, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go, hey, I'm gonna also allow you guys to use any power you want. You buy this $40 piece of hardware.
It's Bluetooth ready, and you just
You plug it in. I mean, it doesn't have to be Bluetooth. Ecotech runs everything off of Aquabus cables, like regular USB, right?
yeah, right,
So
yeah,
you plug this thing into your brain of your Apex. The Apex detects that it's a power management module. You plug your pumps into a power management module, or you don't even need to. Since everything is plugged up to your brain, to your Apex brain,
right.
all you got to do is say, "Hey, this module is plugged up into a major power source. If this major power source is down, do this. Turn all of my wave pumps down to 5%. Turn off my return pump or turn it down to 10%." You
Right.
know what I mean? And use a vastly smaller amount of electricity to just keep things going.
Exactly. Yep.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, why lose the market share? Why allow ice cap?
And you know what? they're gonna. You know how many of us in this hobby obviously love Apex, or even if they don't have it, you know, people that couldn't afford it want it. They'll get it anyways if somebody gave it to them. They're gonna make the money back. I mean, it's not like somebody's gonna buy it just because it's like that piece of chrome on a Harley. I just want that new piece because it's there.
Well, here's the thing: if Ice Cap can do it for $50, Apex with a premium name could do it for $69.99, and people will buy it like hotcakes.
Oh yeah, definitely, because it's got orange, and it's orange and gray. Yep.
But same thing can be said for Senai. I don't know anybody who actually bought Senai for the monitoring abilities. They bought it for a par meter.
Right.
The nearest thing close to a Senai price range is $199 Ecotech not Ecotech, Apex par meter, right? Or the cheaper Apogee meter, which I think is $299, with the best being the $599 or something, or $499 Apogee par meter.
Yeah, Apogee is nice. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. BRS did a huge video testing par meters and found that the Senai was pretty much on par with their like $5,000 professional par meter, right? And Apogee was just as good as well. So if a Senai is $169 or $199, why wouldn't Senai just release a standalone par meter for like, I don't know, $79.99 or $69.99 or something
Right.
like that?
Yeah, I hear you.
And you tell me, with everybody using LEDs and the fact that people, instead of dropping $200 for a Senai, is willing to beg their buddy to bring over his par meter every time they need to make an adjustment, or ask their reefer group, you know what I mean, their whatever reef club they're in, if they're part of one, to have somebody come over and map out their tank for them so that they know where the par levels are at. If the future is LEDs, why is no company rushing to the market with a freaking par meter for less than $100?
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
It's
who's in charge of marketing
crazy.
with Senai?
You know, Reef Dudes usually has what's his name from Apex on. I mean, that'd be a question to ask him, and knowing him, he'd be like, "Yeah, we're already thinking about it, or they probably already have like a prototype. Maybe they're just trying to, you know, who knows, you know." But I see what you're saying. All these other companies that could be making millions right now are just, I don't get it.
Exactly. I'm just trying to figure. Apex has a par meter. It's $199. It uses the same sensor as the higher end Apogee, right? The only thing I see wrong with the Apex par meter is that it does have a pretty long cable, you know, so you can kind of move it around your tank or whatever to get the readings. Just that I probably wouldn't have it in my tank 24/7, which is kind of how it's designed to be, because it comes in something that looks like a piece of live rock.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
Right. So I probably wouldn't have it in there 24/7. But the only thing I can say about that is it's still $199. It's a discount Apogee, which is fine if you are invested in Apex and you choose to do the $199 for that, then that's fine. Me, I kind of prefer being able to move my laptop around with the Senai plugged into it and test the par on my frag tank, test the par on my Nano, which is in my office upstairs.
Right.
You know, just the freedom of being able to move around. But if nobody's buying the replacement discs that monitor nitrate and ammonia or whatever in a Senai, and they spent all this money developing something like a web server and testing par and per in one sensor If they have the software already. Just release a standalone par meter, and you will literally sell out of it.
Right, just like Al just said right now, I think people who use power meters in the hobby are probably a minority, which the reason why is because they're $200, $300. If you can get one just like you're saying, a standalone system where it's 79 or even $100, $100 par meter that is just as good as like you were saying, the $5,000. Throw Apex name on it or throw Ecotech's name on it or whatever, they're gonna sell.
Right.
Guaranteed, they're gonna sell. They're
Okay.
gonna. It's a no
Al,
brainer. You know what I mean? It's a no brainer.
right. So DM, you say Al said that the people who use a par meter or whatever in the hobby are a minority. As a person who stayed away from LEDs and yet tried almost every iteration of LEDs, okay, from the first ever ones that came out of that company, not Os, was it Osram? It was a Philips company. They were using Philips 1 watt white LEDs. And the fixture was like $3,000, and a buddy of mine bought it, okay, before they got hit with a patent lawsuit from whatever company owned the technology of using light emitting diodes as a lighting source for an aquarium, and that patent ran out almost a year later. But until then, the company wasn't able to stay afloat. Fighting the legal battles with that patent company, they went out of business. So from AI Souls to Fathom LEDs to eShine to eBay to Mars to Orfec to you name it, I've had it in terms of LEDs. And as an experienced reefer, I had never achieved the level of success with LEDs as I had with T5s or metal halides, which was a set it and forget it type of situation. When I actually experienced a good experience with LEDs was my first ever Radeon system, but the difference is that I used a par meter to correctly set my light. Once I had correctly set my light for my aquascape and for my levels and for my corals, I had nothing but great experiences with it. And to make sure that it wasn't just Radeons that gave me success, I still went ahead and used Chinese black boxes on a frag tank to make sure that I can get the same level of success just because I knew what my light levels were, what areas were hot, what areas were normal. And I achieved the same level of success with the Radeons, with the black boxes. And I 100% attributed that to the fact that I actually knew where it was safe to put my light at. So if you're using LEDs and you haven't done a par test, or I had a friend come over and do a par test, if you're achieving success, power to you because you've somehow found the perfect level for your tank and everything is doing great. And I'm really happy for you. But the majority of people who have a really bad experience with it is because they're tuning their LEDs to a level of light which is appealing to their eye, but it's bad for their critters.
Yep. I mean, I run Chinese black boxes, but I only run the blues on there, full strength, on my outer end, and I got a Radiant Gen 4 Pro in the middle, which is only set at 45%. It's AB plus. The Coral Lab, you go in there, and then I do the AB plus, and that's only at 45%, and I run 10 T5s.
Well, you probably have good success too, because the fact that you've probably had an opportunity or a chance. You've done par tests on your tank before?
Never, nope, and no, and Murphy came over with Rico to my house, and I also too have two metal halides, but I only run those like 3 hours a day, and then they shut down just for like, you know what I mean, just so they give them their like nice food. You know, they get bright, and then like the sun at like noon, and then it goes away. But yeah, I mean, they all wanted to see how much power I'm doing. I never did it, and like I said, I got lucky, and I don't think
I don't think your experience is the normal.
right. No, I get what you're saying. Some people that would put that thing probably 6 inches from the top. My radion is probably sitting around 18 to 20 inches off the top of the water, so I get a little bit wider of a spread, but it's at 45%. You know what I mean? And I watch my corals. I mean, like I said, man, corals talk to you if you if you're burning the tips, or if they're just, I mean, you can just look at a coral and it'll tell you if something's not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what's funny about that is that half of the people who are reefing don't know. Okay, if you started reefing today in the hobby, I guarantee you probably never seen what some of these corals were actually supposed to look like, or not actually what they were supposed to look like, but rather what they look like under the old gold standard of lighting, which was metal halides and T5s.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They didn't look like this.
Like some of the par numbers that are achievable now with LEDs were totally unachievable without turning your fish tank
400 watt, to a bathtub.
into like a giant fish crab boil.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. And like you said, you know what? And I met this guy in person. I'm sure a lot of us have, but Jason Fox, I mean, the guy is pretty damn smart. He's doing shit right, but he only runs blue light on his tanks. He runs T5s and reef brights. That is absolutely it. I went to a demonstration. He showed us everything slide for slide. He's talked to us in person. He doesn't run metal. Hey, he's got a couple vats with like some AI Hydra 52s,
As
but
experiments.
as experiment. Yeah, you watched that video. But I mean, I got a few of his corals in here, and he told me like, even in his video, we all think that these corals come from like 1,000 par, or you know what I mean, like just crazy amount of light. And to be truthfully honest with you, the white light is only for certain people. The blue light is what their preferences. It's the way they'll grow, they'll color up, and that's the kind of water that they're in when they're 50, 60 feet underwater. You don't see reds and greens and UV and all that.
Isn't that crazy though? Doesn't that make you go like, wow, have I been doing this right?
It's just, I mean,
people look at his corals in his display tanks or even at a frag swap, and his corals will look one way, and everybody else who's there, their corals will look a completely different way.
Yep.
And they're like, oh,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
How'd you get that? He'll tell you. And you know what he says too? If his corals are messing up, he hits them with a water change. Everything that's in the salt mix, if something's wrong, he does run a calcium reactor, but if anything is wrong, I mean, he did say all this in his video, but he has said it over and over. I've seen him at 2 shows this year, and I've heard people ask him the same, it's like an operator. People say the same thing over and over and over. And he still says the exact same thing, almost word for word, what he said in his video, that there's nothing that he does spectacular. He doesn't add anything. He doesn't add potassium. He doesn't add nothing. All he does is regular instant ocean. But he does a lot of water, man. He says like 500-600 gallons a month or something.
Yeah, I mean he does water changes, you know. That's all it is. It's water changes. But that's what I'm saying. Al had a comment in the chat just now. He said he wonders if people should look at par meters as important as a skimmer. And
I do. I think a par meter for certain people that don't or that are inexperienced, first of all, or just getting into it, most definitely, because you're gonna try to take a Jason Fox flame and put it at the surface and then put it at 80% G4 Radeon Pro and you're gonna cook it.
yeah, and you're gonna be really, really pissed off and upset about that.
Yeah, I mean it's a $150 frag. I mean, for a 1-inch piece, I mean you cook that and it's white tomorrow. You might as well just throw it in your calcium reactor because get some of your money back. I do though. I think power meters, like you guys all said, and we all say, don't go fast. Everything only in reefing, you should go slow. Take your time because things can turn sour. Look at me. I just lost a mother colony of an ORA turquoise staghorn that I had for forever. I mean, I got it in pieces now. Hopefully, I can save it and rebuild the colony back up. But out of nowhere, and I don't know what caused it, but yeah, man. I mean, got to do your homework. You got to do the homework before.
So I hear a lot of people actually say that, oh, I'll just borrow a par meter when I need it. And to that, I answer, they're like, oh, how many, can they think? They're like, well, how many times am I going to actually use this? And it's funny because I actually use mine all the time. Because in a tank this size, or even in my old tank, I used to look at 2 frags, of the same coral in 2 different places. And I would watch one turn a color and grow a certain way, and one turn a color and grow a different way. And I used to wonder, like, how much light is this one getting over that one to make it do that? Or why are these chalices opening up, but these chalices are not? And pulling out the par meter immediately can tell me that, hey, this one's getting 230 par, and this one is getting 150. And the one that's getting 150 is opening up better and brighter and bigger than the one getting 200 and something par. And I would move the one chalice that was getting too much over next to the other one. And guess what? Within 2-3 days, it started opening up nice and big and fat and healthy again. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. The difference between 6 inches between 2 corals.
Right.
See, unlike flow, you can't tell par with your eye.
No.
You can see if something's getting too much flow. You can't see if something's getting too much light.
Right. Narcosis is saying, is 14K blue? Is that blue question? It's on the blue spectrum, but it's not. It's a good. If you want your corals to grow fast, I mean, well, you've been doing this a while. I mean, it's got some blue into it, but I mean, but blue it reaches deeper. Blue light is always going to be. I am a scuba diver. I'm certified, but the blue light is one light that goes the deepest before it turns black. So I'm trying to read this as he's writing it down. But yeah, I mean, water parameters definitely, but blue light. I'm everything in my tank. I got Reef Brights. I got Actinic T5s AI or not AI. The whatchamacallits.
Radeon?
No, the T5 bulbs. The
ATI Blue Plus?
Yeah, ATI. Yeah, I got blue. They're all blue, and I got the Actinics. And I got my Chinese black boxes are all blue only, and then my Reef Bright are blue, obviously, and then the Gen 4 has just a little bit of white. I think it's at 10%, but the rest of it, all my blues and violets and everything are sky high. My reds and greens are down low.
Well, I mean, I call 14K Windex.
Yeah,
So 14K is what I expect a 14K Phoenix bulb to be, which was a very crisp white with a noticeable tinge of blue. Okay, but it doesn't necessarily cause a lot of corals to fluoresce. Right? That's what Phoenix 14Ks were. Um, and I like that color. I like that color a lot for growth. Over flat
growth.
caps,
Yep.
probably one of the best colors you could put because it's good coloration and it's really good growth. Because next to growth, the best growth bulb I've ever seen in my entire life is a Ushio 10K.
Yeah, that's a good ball. I like that. I like that. I just like their bulb just in general.
A Ushio 10K was the gold standard of many aquaculture facilities that I've ever known or come across because it was literally one of the easiest bulbs to get everything to grow under, massive, and then as soon as they got up to like saleable height or as soon as they've been encrusted over, switch them over to a radium 20K, and inside of 3 weeks or so, they'll get back the most beautiful colors you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah, radiums are good. I mean, I like that's what my 175 my 175 watts are. The radiums 22 I got 22K though.
Yeah. See, I'm not willing to go that far back with halides. I actually did consider going that far back on this new display, and the main reason was I'm fortunate enough that my tank is in an area that's like right underneath a air conditioning vent, and it's in a wide open room that is easily ventilated with the ceiling fans. So I didn't believe that heat would be an issue for me. I think what would have been an issue for me the most was energy draw, like power.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, I got the old magnet ballast too, so let me tell you about.
and noise.
Yeah, it's you click them on, you can just you know what I mean? The thing weighs like 25 pounds. It's for two of them. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, I mean, I don't care how new your house is, or
my house
it
is very, very old, and I don't have a basement. And
dims the hell out of your lights. Trust me.
yeah, my house is old. My tank's probably worth more than my house. Just joking, but it literally though, like as much money as we got in it, I mean, fuck. I run a chiller too, so an old Aqualogics.
Yeah, that was my only concern: having to either run a chiller or having a little bit too much power draw. But people talk about LEDs all the time, like, oh, LEDs are so energy efficient. Yeah, maybe like a 60-watt LED over a 24 by 24 gallon cube, or a 100-watt XR15 over a 24 by 24 by 12-inch cube. But the last time I checked, I have one, two, three, four radions over my display. If I didn't have T5s, I would have five radions over my display. And each one of those guys are at max at like 80% or something like that. It's pulling like 175, 180 watts. That's like four 250-watt metal halides right there.
Right,
Where's the energy savings?
right. I do have that, Al. I got the Reef Bright metal halide, and what I did was I got the new energy efficient ballast and everything, but I took off the reef brights and I put those just underneath, and I'm not using the metal halide right now. But you can touch their fixture with your hand, and I'm running a 175, and I can put my hand on it and it won't burn me. Now, how are they doing that? I don't know, because you're getting the same par. You're like, I don't know, but it's a cool fixture. I mean, I paid a few hundo for it, but yeah, that he's talking about, that new Reef Bright metal halide combo with the Reef Brights. I bought one, and it is crazy how it doesn't get hot. There's no fans, no nothing.
Is it really that cool?
I mean, it's warm, but I mean, you could put your hand on it and it ain't gonna burn you. Like, now, if you touch my other ones, phew, forget about it. You touch them, you might as well go get some ice, and it'll melt your skin off, dude. Now, I only have
Are the ballasts internal?
Say that again?
Are the ballasts on those halides?
No, it's got an external ballast, and hold on, I'll show you. Hold on one second. Let me grab my.
And what are they equivalent to, like 250-watt halides?
Hold on one second. Let me turn my camera back on. I got a 175, but let me turn my light on here. Sorry, I don't wear shirts. I'm comfortable. I'm in my house. So this is the light right here.
Okay, so right off the bat, it looks almost like the ice cap pendants that they used to sell. Love those pendants. So
yeah, hold on. Let me
put
myself on. Hold on one second. Let me present myself so I can, because I can't see if I'm showing you everything. Present to everyone. All right. So this glass right here is probably, I don't know, it's thick, dude. Let me show you.
Okay, that's a pretty thick glass, and you need that for UV.
And then, like I said, this reflector is just, I mean, the whole light itself is bad. But yeah, you could put your hand on here. It's got vents, but it's weird how it doesn't. And then I'll show you the ballast real quick. It's a neat little ballast. It's super small. And then this is the little ballast. It says Reef Bright on there.
Okay. It looks like a rebranded Lux Core ballast.
Yeah, I just got this. I mean, it's still brand, like, it's crazy. It's still brand new.
Does the ballast get hot?
No, actually. I mean, a little warm.
So it's an electronic ballast. They remind me of the ice cap ballast, except with a gold heat shroud on it instead.
It's got a little button. Yeah, it's electronic ballast, it says. Yes, it is, sir.
Mm. And what bulb do you have inside of it?
I got the radium 22K.
And what's the color that it gives off?
I don't see a difference between the 20 and the 22. I think they're pretty damn close. You know what I mean? If I could have shown, I mean, I don't have my phone where I can get into YouTube right now, but mine is.
Is it blue?
Yeah, it's definitely blue, but it ain't like an actinic blue. You know what I'm saying? It's like, right. I don't want nobody to get the misconception that it's going to be like a because they throw the reef brights on the sides. They come with like little brackets, and I took that off.
Or Reef by XHO they put on the sides.
Yeah. So I have those in my system in between my two metal halides, and then I got the reef or the long story short, I got the Gen 4. But when you have the XHOs on with this, especially with the 22, it just gave me this like awesome. How do I say it? It was just a real nice, crisp, clean blue. I don't know how. It's not. I don't know how to explain.
It's not like a royal blue or not like that.
Yeah, no, it's not like a weird, like cheesy looking blue. It was just, it was sharp. I mean, it's sharp. It's just, it's nice. It gives you that hue where you can still see the corals. But then I got a Gen 4 Radiant, so I just was like, I'm taking this off. I'm gonna save it. You know what I mean? In case I get like a frag tank, or something, plump something else into this one or whatever. It'll still be brand new, and I'll just because my other ones are hanging in there, and I got like a reflector, but it's only like 4 inches wide by a foot. I don't want too much reflection.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's just the way I did it.
I mean, I still think it's cool. Like, I still like metal halide technology for a lot of different reasons. My only thing now though is, you said that the light itself didn't give off a lot of heat in terms of the fixture becoming hot.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It doesn't.
But what about the light? Like underneath the light, was that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you'll feel the heat. I mean, you touch that glass. I mean, it's still warm. But what I'm thinking is, now check this out. What I've been thinking is whatever they built this glass with, I'm wondering if that glass reflects heat and causes it to go, because obviously heat rises. So the heat isn't heating up your tank because it's hot, but it ain't like how do I explain it to you? It's not like you could feel warmth, but it ain't like if you were to stick my hand underneath my metal halide right now, if I had it on, how you could feel like it almost feels like the sun.
Right.
Like feeling it on your skin. This you won't do that. I mean, you do feel warmth, but it's not like so hot like, oh my God. And I think the reason why they vented it like they did is that this glass reflects the heat and pushes the heat through the top. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's pretty dang cool, man.
I think it's something. It's got to be something like that. It's weird how the technology. And if you watch that video on Reef Bright, they have a video on this, and it'll explain to you a little bit more in depth, like how it works. Because they were at like, I think they were at RAP or something last year or this year, or I don't know if it was in Florida or if it wasn't New York. I think it was Florida or the one before that last one, and they're saying how they're coming out with this, and it was going to be new technology to try to bring back the metal halide because they said that was tried and true, and it's the closest thing to the sun, and you could touch our fixtures. And I didn't believe it, and then my LFS had him, and I bought one because he had one running, and I touched it, and I couldn't believe it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a metal halide. It does get warm, but it's nothing like the old school ones where it'd cook you. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool, man. But
the reflectors on this, you have to raise it too. That's another thing. When you set this up, you want these. If you're gonna buy like 3 of these, you're gonna want them up in the air at least 2 feet or more.
Yeah.
Because the reflection is. I had mine at like 18, and with the housing, dude, I would have cooked my corals.
That's crazy.
I think Al put it in the whatchamacallit, in the chat, the video about the new light.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to watch that later on.
But then you can do too, though. You know what I mean? You could put dude, your tank's big enough. You can buy 3 of these and then put your radiants in the middle of them. I mean, because you're not going to have to worry about them getting too hot, and then you're getting the best of both worlds, or put them on the outside, or because you can angle them, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with the radiants.
Yeah.
They got those little hangers, so you can pull the wires in so they're angled. You can put one in the front, one in the back.
So I have a question for you about the reef brights, though. Right?
Yep.
So I've been on the fence a little bit about getting reef brights for my setup, and the thing about it is I've been told before that the reef brights really aren't nothing crazy special. That they are a different, you know, a different wavelength in terms of LEDs, you know, to make things glow or whatever. But that
Right.
they aren't really like anything you can't achieve with radions. And then when I wasn't looking at Reef Bright, I was looking at instead perhaps maybe the Lumi lights, the Lumi
Right.
LEDs that they sell, to see if those had the same wavelength as the Reef Bright XHOs. And the thing about it is, it's not for nothing. Reef Bright's site sucks, and it really doesn't go into details about the wavelengths or anything like that because, of course, it's proprietary or whatever. But I wish I could find in text them saying that the Lumi lights are not really meant for growth. They're meant to give you the Reef Bright LED glow, you know, and to show off your corals, but they're not
Right.
really meant for growth. You know, I wish I could see that somewhere.
Well,
That
Reef
they have the
Brights,
same wavelength.
in my opinion, Reef Brights are a totally different bulb in itself. I mean, I have the Chinese black box. I have T5s. I got the radiant. I've turned off all my lights and left the blues to try to see it different. Me running I'm gonna get more reef. I want to get two 72-inch Reef Bright fixtures, and then I'm gonna get rid of one of my sets of T5s, and I'll probably somehow I want to incorporate 2 of them. If at least if not one full stretch XHO. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, the light. If you were to shut all your lights off and just turn your Reef Brights on, the clarity of your water, because I mean you keep your tank pretty clean, whatever. The water looks, in an analogy like this, it looks like a diamond. It's so crisp, but yet blue, but not overdrawing blue, like where it looks like it looks natural in a sense, and then your corals do glow. I mean, it's all of that mixed into one. And I've seen a significant, because mine are right above my millies. I got strawberry millies. I got a colony that's probably pushing 16 inches across, probably maybe 7 inches tall. It's got like different plateaus. And with them being over that, and I run them 24/7, or not 24/7, but I run them with all my life. Dude, the polyp extension. Now, don't get me wrong. Would I've gotten that through something else? Probably. But just the clarity and the way the corals, I think like you were just saying, I think the blue, that precision of like how far it goes down is almost like it mimics the natural blue, like in the ocean, I guess, if you want to. So like, if I shut everything off and turn it on, it's like not a nightlight blue, but it's bright enough to where you could see everything and things glow, but not overpowering where it looks like it's so blue where you know you're running a different light, or you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, and I understand
So
what
it
you're
is
saying.
totally different, in my opinion, too. Like you could totally like if I turn and I have two different Chinese black boxes. One's like a Mars, and the other one's whatever. They got two different color blues. If you turn the blue on and that one, you could see there's a totally different diode or whatever they're running is completely. It's not the same color blue. So the Reef Bright XHO and now the regular Reef Bright is different than the XHO. The regular Reef Brights are even another totally different, I believe, a totally different color spectrum too. It might be, I think it's a little bit shorter than the XHO. The XHO is a little bit more crisp blue. So it almost looks like you're where you got your TR Tristan's Reef. So that's real bright blue like that. But now make that blue in your background like crisp, like a diamond. So it looks more crisp and natural. It almost looks like you just set up your fish tank, and it's just so clear. If that makes sense, it's just so you can have dirty water, and them reef brights will make your tank look like you've ran carbon for like a year straight,
I hear
or you're
you.
running an ozone. You know what I'm saying? It your tank just looks crisp. So I think the way that light is shining, it penetrates that tank. It'll penetrate your tank and get to where it needs to get to, whether your tank is dirty or clean. That's how I would sum it up.
I see. And I'm guessing like you tried to recreate that blue with like your Radeon G4 or whatever, and you couldn't.
I don't think so. Let me see if I can get my phone on.
I mean, you don't have to do it now. I mean, I think
No,
it'll
I
make a
mean, if
great
they're on,
video if
I'm
you
about
could.
to turn them down, but I want to see if I can turn my phone on and see if I can join. I don't know how I could join YouTube because my phone's messed up. But one of these days, I'll be able to show. I'll be able to. Well, I'm sure you'll see other people. I mean, Pat just bought them. Rico's got them. I think CJ's not CJ. Yeah, I think CJ. We haven't seen him in a while, but a lot of the guys. I mean, even I think Sanjay has reef. I think he might have just recently put reef brights on with the Radiance. I
Because here's
mean,
the thing, right? I got 4 Radeons right now, and I got the T5s over my tank as well, and I'm not willing to give up the T5s, and I'm not
right.
willing to give up the Radions because I need the T5s to for at least 4 to 5 hours a day so that my SPS down to the core are lit. You know, not just
Right.
where my diffused radions are lighting them, but literally down to the core are lit.
Well, what's
So,
good? What's good? I don't mean to cut you off. What's good though about the reef brights are they come with the if you get the like 72-inch fixture, it comes with like little brackets, and you can mount that either to your like canopy. You can make like a little hanger, and you can angle that so that if you put it like in the front of your tank and you can angle it downward, you can keep all those lights on there. You can keep all your T5s, and it'll just give you more. It's not really for par, I don't think. I don't know. I mean, there might be a lot of par in them. I don't know, but I think it's more of the color spectrum and how far it reaches is what
into
the
it.
corals endure. Like I think that's why they like it.
Well, see, what I'm thinking is that I'll be able to kind of accomplish what I'm looking for if I were to get like 4 of those reef brights. Because four reef brights would it would pretty much essentially give me I'll be able to put a pair on each of my aquatic life T5 fixtures.
That's what my T5 is. I got a 12 bulb and I got an 8 bulb and then I got a 2 bulb. Right now I'm running just the 8 and the 2. Aquatic Life, the old, like they're older fixtures, but they're not the newer ones. But I got an 8 bulb one and those are nice fixtures, man.
Oh yeah, they're doing a great job. I don't have any problems with mine. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that I can get away with getting 4 of the Reef Brights because I would be kind of looking. I don't like to run the T5s all the time because I'm not necessarily in love with the color.
That color. Yeah, exactly. But the corals, for some reason, man, whatever's in those tubes, they love it. I think, like Narcosis even said this, it's almost like your sky. So mine are up pretty high. Even Alex G has his pretty high. I use mine and it's all insulated in there with like my hood is, everything is DIY, but it's reflection. And my T5s are probably anywhere from the water surface to the light. I'm probably thinking 15, 16 inches off the water. But they're only there to illuminate the surrounding area for my lights. You follow me?
Yeah, they're fillers. Like,
yeah, and my corals love it. So I mean, I wouldn't get rid of your T5s either.
Yeah. So, but therein lies my challenge to try and figure out how I could, say, for example, incorporate, something like the whatchamacallit, and not screw around too much with my filler. You know what I mean?
Right. I think if you bought, because your tank's 8 foot.
8 foot.
Yeah, I don't know if they make one bigger than 72, but if they did, I'd buy one all the way across. It'd probably be like $600 or whatever. But dude, that'd be sick, man. And or buy 2, put one on one side of your Aquatic Life and then one on the other.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, because actually, when I talked to Tulio at Reefapalooza Orlando, he had told me that they are able to like custom make some. Like if I wanted to get like an 8 foot one, but I don't think I need to get an 8 foot one. I think I would just get 4 4-foot ones. And
yeah, I mean, I only got two 1-footers, or no, they're like 16 or 18 inches long. I got 2 18s. But I want to get either like a 4-foot or a 7-foot. I'm telling you, if you get one, you won't be sad. I mean, I think you'll appreciate. I mean, you're gonna like it. I mean, no exaggeration. I was skeptical too. If I would have known how these were gonna be, thank God I bought this like metal halide because I had it. But if I would have known how these lights were 4 or 5 years ago, I would have pulled. If I would have known now what I known then, I would have pulled the trigger a long time ago.
Here's the trick, though, right? The trick is, how do I kind of I want to get it, but when I look at the price of what I'm going to end up spending on one Reef Bright, I can legit buy another Radion.
No, that's what holds everybody back. But if you look at the reviews and look at all the YouTube videos with people that have them, they're like, I mean, Pat Murphy, will tell you, Rico.
I'm legit getting it for aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying.
That's the part that gets me.
But it's gonna make your corals pop too, though. It's gonna add. I mean, it's not. It's like it doesn't over drown them. It doesn't make them. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain.
No, the crispness I think you're talking about I almost feel like it's almost a VHO.
Yeah, back in the high output.
Yeah, do you remember VHO Actinics?
Yeah, the retrofits.
Yep.
Yep.
VHO Actinics.
Everybody had to have those. Those were expensive, dude. Back then.
Well, here's the thing. VHO Actinics had that crisp purple.
Yep. But yeah, it is.
Look.
It's like it's so crisp. It's like if you use your imagination like an ice cube, how that it looks so like clear and crisp and just clean, and then you got your corals and you can just see them. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. It's almost like they pop. You got the blue, they pop, but then it's still dark in there, so it's like
you get Actinics without the risk. Hold on one second.
yeah, it's just they're just sharp, man.
Damn kids got school on Monday and they were down here running around instead of going to bed. Hold on one second, DM.
I got so much current in my tank, my damsel can't even swim. I got a little blue damsel, and he just sits in the current, and he's just think he'd be full of muscle by now. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty good. So we got 4 people still watching. Not trying to bore everybody. Anybody wants to jump in? I mean, there's.
Yeah, sorry. I was having an in-depth conversation about freaking Reef Bright. I swear, Reef Bright's going to be one of those things. If I catch myself with a little bit of extra money one day, I'm just going to pull the trigger and buy 4 of them.
It's one of those things. If you damned,
no regrets. Maybe if I stole a bunch of frags. If I stole a bunch of frags, I'd have no regrets.
There's a lady right now selling an XHO at Craigslist in my neighborhood, like out here. I live in Chicago. For 200 and something, brand new in the box. I don't know how they got them. But I think it's like $270 for 72.
Rather, if I sent you the money, would you go buy it and then ship it in case she wouldn't ship?
I could. Hold on one second. Let me see if she still got them, and I'll see if I can take a picture.
How many she got?
Let me show. Hold on. Let me see. Craigslist right here. I type in reef, REEF. Somebody selling a reef keeper for $200. Get out of here! The fuck out of here! Let me see if they're still on here. I'll tell you exactly what the price is. Uh,
And you know
yeah,
what really made me think of it, of reef brights in general, because we were talking to Salty John the other night, and he
yeah,
was telling me about the Lumi brights.
yeah. I
And
heard about that. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
and I legit almost pulled the trigger on the Lumi brights, but I went, I laid down, and this is what usually happens. I lay down researching new equipment or something, and if I convince myself before I fall asleep that I want it or need it, and then I look at my, my reef funds, my reef allowance, and if I have enough, I'll pull the trigger. But it was something that I read that they were a different light spectrum than the XHOs that made me not pull the trigger. So I did not buy them that night, even though they were on sale.
No, it looks like somebody swooped them, dude. I can't. I looked on. I figured that was gonna happen. I was thinking about doing a reef light. I'll just put a reef light.
Yeah,
Man,
but,
and it was
but, but
it was up
what
here.
really made me look at it originally was the fact that I'm not like a crazy photographer or nothing like that. Like I don't have like a $20,000 camera or nothing like that. But I did spend a little bit of money on lenses, and I've figured out which lens makes my tank look the best, which settings on the camera. Literally, I burnt through an entire camera battery, actually two camera batteries, sitting with the camera on a tripod and taking pictures and video until I found the exact settings that made everything look good. Like what settings to put my radions at, what settings to put, you know, the camera at to make everything look good. And I'm like, okay, save. And then I saw a world reef builders revisiting worldwide corals, and they were taking these pictures. And I'm looking at these pictures, and they look freaking amazing. And I'm like, how the hell did they take these pictures? It had to have been under reef brights with some stupid expensive camera lens or whatever, or some underwater housing or some shit to make it come out this good. Because they accurately captured super fluorescence, but without any like of the blue washout. So I'm like, I sent a message to Worldwide. I'm like, hey, what settings or filter did you guys use to get these pictures?
Right.
And they said that they took the pictures with a mirrorless camera, which I have, under blues, which mine are, and that they didn't do post processing, which I knew was bullshit. But regardless, um, they still came out with these great pictures. And if you've ever dabbled around in like Photoshop, you would know that people will say or think that, hey, you could do all these great things to photos even if you took a crappy photo. But the amount of things you could do to a photo, it really depends on how good the source material is before you can start manipulating and doing things to it. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I was just really blown away. But when they told me they took it all under um, Radeon without reef brights or anything like that, I was like, wow. And that kind of turned me off from buying the reef brights in general, because I was like, well, if they can accomplish this under just the Radeons, I should be able to accomplish the same thing.
Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I think it's gone. I didn't think it was gonna last. I just seen it the other day, man, like 2 days ago, and somebody probably already picked them up. I think they had a couple different ones. I think they had 4 footers, 7 foot, and 1 footer. I don't know. They're all brand new in the box. It was a woman. I remember texting her.
Wow. I mean, hey, somebody got a great deal then.
Yeah, the smaller ones are even cheaper, dude. It was crazy for a 72-inch Reef Bright XHO. Like, I don't know if her husband or if somebody stole them or her husband died. I don't know, dude. But for $270, that was a steal.
Yeah, I think I'm probably looking at close to $800 per if they custom made me some 96 or whatever. I mean, I can live with the fact that I can't have every color. I can't have every lighting type. You can try, but you can't.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely. I have to keep my eyes peeled, man, for somebody local with reef brights, so that I can go and see.
You don't have any local fish store or anything that.
None running reef brights. I mean, my LFS that I go to a lot, they run radions, but they don't run reef brights.
Where are you at? Maryland or something?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Fishy Snowman's here.
Fishy. What's going on, Mr. Fishy Snowman? What the hell is a fishy snowman?
Right? Fishy Snowman. Fishy, fishy. Fishy Snow. Yeah, what? Fishy Snow. It's a name you'll never forget, I guess, right?
Right. I mean, I'm picturing the snowman from like one of those Christmas specials, the animated Christmas specials that come on every year with the
Yeah,
Frosty the
Charlie
Snowman
Brown and
with like a fish jammed into his head or something like that. It's the only thing I could think of.
yeah, my red coris wrasse went to bed, dude. It's like he knew it was bedtime.
Hey, with that red course, man, do you have any shrimp and stuff?
Yeah, I have a Harlequin, but fuck him. I'm sick of. I know I shouldn't be swearing on her, but I don't ever see him, and every time he comes out, he only wants food, and I
You
buy him
tired of you
$20
tired of
star.
mutilating fish, starfish?
Yeah, I buy him a chocolate chip once a month. That he comes out to just tell me, "Hey, Dad, I need more food." Um, and I originally only bought him because I had all those little white starfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
already know my next fish that I'm gonna get. I'm gonna try to get him this weekend, but I really want a pair of mandarins.
mandarin, yeah,
I've always admired those fish from afar because of their, unique dietary requirements in the form of like pods and stuff.
yeah.
And I always, said that I feel like my tank is ready for a mandarin when I have so many pods that at any given time I could pick up my magnet cleaner and look underneath it, and it's full of pods living in between the Velcro on the inside of the tank. I'm like, well, I got enough pods.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got, I got more than enough. Well more. I mean, I don't see him crawling around in my system because I had my chorus wrasse, but the yellow one jumped. But I'm telling you what, that fish was 5 months old, 4 months old, and it was already bought it at an inch and a half. It was like 4 inches. The fattest thing I ever seen in my life.
That's awesome. I've been keeping my fish
Help.
pretty fat, man. I've been feeling good feeding them because I've been feeding my system very heavy. It's almost like if I've been artificially putting some pressure on my filtration to see how good it does, you know, and I'm keeping Chato alive. It's not growing as fast as I expect it to, and that's a given considering
Well,
that I
yeah,
don't
if you got
have.
low nutrients, it's not, you know what I mean? It's can only take in what's in your system. Now, if you have a lot of nutrients, that stuff should be growing like a weed.
Yep, yep. So I think it's at a decent level,
Right.
you
That's
know.
good though. I mean, if your stuff starts growing crazy or you start seeing an excess algae inside your refugium or whatever, then you got to cut it back some.
Yep, yep, exactly. So, but it's been growing at a steady clip, so I
Yep.
haven't been worried about it, and I'm seeing like a billion pods in there. But there is an
Same here.
algae that
Same
I'm
here.
trying to get, and the only place I think I'm going to get enough quantity at a decent price is from Top Shelf, because they literally have vats of it growing, and it's complete, like flame dragon algae, the flame algae or whatever, the red stuff.
Red Dragon
Um,
or stuff that Dave Nanotanks has.
yeah,
What is that called?
flame algae, is it?
Dragon breath?
Dragon's breath, yeah. So I want to get a good amount of it to throw in my refugium. Um, I would rather it outcompete the Chato and just become the dominant one. But Chato is so prolific, I don't think it would. But in either case, I still want to try to get it to dominate. But yeah, I want to get a good chunk of it. But a lot of people guard that stuff with like their freaking life. You order some of it, they give you like two little smudges of it, and it's like, the hell am I supposed to do with that? You need even Chato. You need a good chunk to get ready, good growth.
Yeah, because you're gonna get some die off. I mean, I did that. That's how I got so much Calearpa right now. I actually took my refugium, display refugium, and took it all out because I had chalices and corals that, with the flow that I have to keep in the system now, is just too much for them. So I put it in the bottom. But man, I got like Calearpa and Chato and um, like a grape Calearpa and stuff like. And my Chato is out competing it though. But I mean, it's still all there. But I'm
That's my other
thinking
thing.
about.
I gotta get some macro, man. Macro down here is very limited. All you're gonna find is Chato, and I actually had to drive like an hour to get some of that red gracilaria, I think they call it, or whatever. But I wouldn't mind getting some like grape or even Calearpa.
Yeah, the only
Um,
bad thing about it is if you don't keep your light on underneath 24/7. I mean, you can shut it off for maybe like 2-3 hours. It will like not go asexual, but you'll see the that some of the leaves will start like melting away.
Start
There
turning
it
white.
Yeah, it gets clear, and then so I never shut my tank lights off underneath. My lights underneath are on 24/7, and my Calearpa is so thick. It's so like coarse. It looks like a Brillo pad and dark green that I can't like. It's crazy.
Yeah, I got dark green Chato, but I like the Chato. So I mean, other than adding some of that dragon algae to it, which I really want to do, um, I really want to get some of that. But I want to get a good chunk of it. Like I need a good gallon size bag of nothing but that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think I might try and contact some of the guys that we met over at Top Shelf when me and Rico and the rest of us were down there, and see if I can't get Remy to ship me some.
Dave's nano tanks, man. You see his refugium? That thing looks, or that 55. That tank looks sick, dude. I like it.
Yeah, it looks really great. But
I like all the red, like the different dragon breaths, and then he's got all his dude. It's crazy. I think came out really, really, really nice.
yeah, it's a really nice display refugium. I really like it too. And he has some softies and
Yeah,
paletoas and stuff in there that he throw in.
yeah,
It
definitely.
looks real nice, like real. It looks like some of the footage that I got of like the Florida live rock and stuff. It looks like that in there, and that's like really really healthy. That's like a great ecosystem inside of it. So I don't think Dave has any problems with like
No,
reef
he's
reef.
got like, and the way he plumbed that into his 100, and then he's got his sump underneath. I mean, he's pushing close to 200 gallons of water. I bet
You know what I get? I gotta ask Dave
180.
if he'll frag me some of that blue bird's nest looking stuff that he got.
Yeah, he did get blue. Yeah, he did get a. Yeah,
I really want some of that. I've never seen it. Um, and
I just found out that pink bird's nest and a green bird's nest are the same thing.
just the light and flow.
Yeah, yeah. If your light is super bright and like so powerful, it'll turn pink, and the low light will turn green.
Yep.
I did not know that, and I've been doing. I mean, I've had fish tanks forever. Somebody just told me that, and I was like, "Are you serious?" I looked it up, and yeah, sure enough.
Yeah, you can
I
keep
think
both in
Dan.
your
I think
tank, two different colors, if you put one high and one low.
yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I watched the Reef Builders episode where the guy was talking about how corals grow differently because of flow,
Yes.
and he showed four pictures of the same coral. One of them looked like it was growing like a chalice. One of them looked like it was growing like a staghorn. One of them looked like if it was growing more like a kind of what we traditionally think of like an acro. And then one of them was growing like almost like a deep water, like the really thin branches with small coralites on it. And I was like, that was just all because of flow. And
Definitely.
I
Flo
gotta
has.
tell you, I've neglected flow in my tanks for a long time. I always felt that if I were pushing, if a coral was blowing too hard, that it was getting too much flow, and I come to realize that that's not the case at all. Like bird's nest wants a lot of flow. Bird's nest thrive on flow. The more flow you could throw at a bird's nest, the happier it will be because it's so dense with the thin branches that it needs the flow to bring food all over it. And so I put a bird's nest in like right in the path of a powerhead, and I watched that thing grow to the point where the powerhead was having trouble blowing through the bird's nest into the rest of the tank, and I went, "Wow,
Right.
I've been so wrong about flow for so many years. I've always just stumbled on somewhat of a correct flow for some of my corals. But this tank, this one here, this 300, I have two gyres right now. Gyre ice cap gyre 3Ks, running at about 60% if I'm not mistaken on opposite ends, and they to me it looks like they're doing great flow because I'm seeing a lot of stuff move. But I know realistically, when I get my wave power heads online, that I'm going to have more of that chaotic flow that I'm looking
What
for
pumps did you
inside the
get?
tank. I got Gyre 3Ks and I have Neptune waves. I have four.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, I have four Neptune waves that I'm going to put on the back wall, and I have the two gyres on the two short ends, the 30-inch ends of the tank,
Yeah,
blowing
that's
towards each
how I
other.
got mine. I got three MP40s, one in the middle of the back wall and one on either side, left to right on the sides, and then I got two Jabo B8s in the about a foot every like 18 inches. So I got three in the back and then the two on the sides. And then my Jabos are on a like like a water crashing mode where it like pulse, like it'll flow for like a second, maybe two, and then it stops. And it flows for like 2 seconds and then it stops. And then my other three are on sync with each other, so I got like a wave going slightly, so everything is moving but yet swaying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I got a lot of torches and some pretty darn good flow, and they're doing fantastic. You know, I found that torches in low flow kind of get stubby tentacles. Torches in high flow get the really whip around tentacles, the thin ones that kind of whip around.
Especially the more flow you have for SPS, the thicker the branches will be.
Yep, exactly.
The less flow and they got enough nutrients and light, they grow more like a twig, they're more skeleton looking. Like a bird's nest. You imagine like an acro looking like a bird's nest. It's you know what I mean. That doesn't look right.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird. So yeah, the only thing that's stopping me right now is that I have a lot of my equipment plugged in. A lot of my equipment's plugged in, but I don't have my electrical cabinets yet. So it's just wires all over my sump area. And it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, that's my other thing is when I get my Apex, because I'm gonna get one just because like I said, I want one. I'm gonna build in nice, like almost like the Biz. I want something like that where there's like lights, and I want to have like nice little underneath my thing where my CO2 is. I want to like encase it and make it all nice and fancy, and I like the desk thing with the like little plastic holes where you put them in there and the wires just come out and.
Yeah. Well, I've been waiting so long now for my alkalinity to start dropping down, which is my first true indicator of my corals have started growing again. Because, you know, after they get moved over, everything kind of just like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to survive. That's what I'm going to do. But then when your alkalinity starts tanking and your calcium starts tanking, you're like, all right, things are growing now. It's time to get, you know, your reactors online and stuff. So that's where I'm at right now. It's time for me to get my calcium reactor online. But the place under my tank where the calcium reactor is supposed to go, it's just full of wires. Wires everywhere. So, like, I can't put the calcium reactor online until I get those wires out of the way. But I think what I might end up doing is just plumbing the calcium reactor outside of the sump.
That's how mine is. I got it boxed off so my son doesn't start pushing things and pulling things. But
yeah, but here's the messed up part: my Apex isn't hooked up yet, so I won't be able to monitor my my pH in the calcium reactor.
You can get a pinpoint.
Yeah, but why get a pinpoint when I have a perfectly fine PM1?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If I could borrow a pinpoint, you know what I mean? If I could borrow somebody's pinpoint pH monitor for a week or two until the side cabinets are done, I would do it. But I'm tempted to just set it up and just put the solenoid to one bubble, you know, per second. You know, just to kind of break in the calcium reactor.
Would you kind of calcium reactor? You got a Geo or something?
I got a reef octopus. I think it's a 250.
Yeah, I got reef octopus myself. I got a reef octopus 140R or something, dual chamber, 6-inch chambers.
Yeah, I got a 110-inch chamber.
Yeah, you probably got a newer version. Mine still works, so I don't need to get rid of it. I even busted off the 1 second chamber thing, and I re-glued it, and it don't even look like I ever broke it. I mean, it's just calcium reactor has been through hell and back, but it serves the purpose and it works great for me. So,
Do you find that you needed that second chamber?
say that again.
Do you find that you needed that second chamber?
I don't know. I have never ran it without it, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. But I know it does scrub excess CO2, so it doesn't drop your pH so much into when it goes the fluent line. So I mean, um, I guess without it, I mean my pH is always good because I run my skimmer. I got a downdraft skimmer, so I got an old Reef Concept skimmer downdraft. It's a monster. So my air intake is pretty good. So my pH is always good. I mean, I guess I could ran it without, but I wouldn't. I was always told, even if yours doesn't, you can always buy like a cheap, some type of reactor, fill it up with some media, and then it will, you know what I mean? You can jerry rig something up.
Yeah,
Or
I
you,
mean, Reef makes a second chamber that you can add, and I've been on the fence about buying it, but it's less than $100, so I think I might end up picking it up from Bulk Reef.
yeah, I think
There.
just it's good to have just so that it can scrub, you know, scrub it and raise your pH a little bit before it goes into your system, so you're not having such a big pH swing. You know, not saying that we're chasing numbers here, but I do think it's probably beneficial if you can get one. It's not going to hurt anything, but if
No,
it's there.
it's not like it's gonna overly complicate the reactor.
No, not at all. I got an Aqualifter Tom's pump running mine, and I got a recirculating pump on the thing, and
That's what I got too. I got a
I'm
Tom's Aqualifter, and I got the filter for the Aqualifter. So
oh, there's
that
a filter. I don't have that.
yeah, it's a pre-filter to make sure that you don't suck any detritus into the lines, which I think should help me a lot with.
Now I do have a check valve.
Well, I think you're supposed to use a check valve regardless for whatever pump you're using, just in case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with the Aqualifter, I did get the pre-filter is pretty cheap. It's about like $5. It's an acrylic thing with a sponge foam inside of it that pretty much filters out particulates before it gets into the reactor. I think it'll help me with not having a clog.
Right.
So, I mean, I plan to run my effluent line straight out, like full out.
Mine's fully wide open. Fully open, and then I adjust my bubble to where my acidic my acid inside the chambers are at. I'm running right now at 6.6.
I got the arm coarse media, the extra.
That's what I got. I got arms course. Yep. I didn't get reborn or anything because
I got reborn. I got reborn for magnesium. But let me ask you something with the arm coarse media, right?
yeah, I started off with arm course because it just takes it's easier. It takes a little bit longer for it to break down, and then you'll see. I mean, it takes a long time, dude. My calcium reactors on this new system's been running 5 months, and my CO2 tank is still at 50 pounds, dude.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But that just means that it doesn't. It's not as easy to turn the media to slush because it takes a little bit longer. That was my fear of
Yes.
going with any of the
Yep.
smaller grains.
Smaller particles. Yeah, used a smaller one, and that thing gets to like 6.5 or 6.4. You're gonna have a dust cloud in your system. Actually, I want to buy the reborn though, the little bit more like the skeleton parts. My next, once I'm done with the arms fine course or the medium or whatever it is, I'm gonna go ahead and buy the other one. I think and kind of like mix it.
Hey, what did you put in your second chamber? Fine, right?
I put the same one that I put in my first chamber.
Oh, you put quartz in the second chamber too?
Yeah, and I even put a little bit of neomag
Right.
just so that the CO2 that's scrubbing off can melt a little bit of that too. So And you know what? I've never ever. I don't have to worry about dosing or anything, man. It's the sweetest, most awesomest fish tank now that I don't have to sit there and worry about if my pumps are dosing the right amount, doing fish test after fish test to make sure that it's not doing too much. I just make sure my alkalinity is good. I check my calcium once in a while. If calcium's a little low, I add that because you're always going to be one's going to be off. So you don't want to chase numbers, but you want your alkalinity to be stable. So I watch alkalinity. As long as my alkalinity is good, I'll check my calcium and magnesium. Whatever those are, I'll add those to whatever I need to do. And that's very, very seldom. I mean, it very seldom.
Whatever gets out of whack, pretty much. I hear you.
Yeah, you'll see. As long as you test, I usually try to test my stuff once a week. So if it starts going down, it's not gone down so fast where it's like, oh my God, it's a shocker. So say it's 420 or 440, my calcium, I'll add whatever I got to add to bring it up to like 480, 5. I like to try to keep it around 480. You know, I've kept it up as high as 500, you know.
Yeah, I can't wait to get mine online. It's literally filled, ready here. My container's filled. I got a nice carbon doser ready. You know, it's already hooked up,
Yeah,
plugged in.
it's sick, dude. They're awesome. Once it's all set up, you're like, that's what all the beef is about. Now it's like some people look like they look at it and they're timid by it, but it's probably one of the best tools on any system that's over, say, 120 gallons.
No, I mean, I used to run a Geo 618 on what I would consider was my best ever tank in terms of acro. I used to run a Geo 618 on it,
Those
and
are nice. Those are nice, man. I was gonna buy one of those.
yeah, I mean, I had got mine on a premium aquatics deal around Christmas time or something like that. It was actually Black Friday. I had got it on premium aquatics, and I just saved up like 2 months of, fish allowance and splurged on the Geo reactor. And let me tell you, man, I had never seen SPS grow that fast. And it has to be because they're getting a constant, like an IV supply of building materials and other particles and chemicals and strontium and all this other stuff that's bound up in this aragonite media that they need to build, that you're just not going to get that much of in just regular two-part by itself. It's just something about the media, I think, that gives
Oh,
it so much
definitely.
good stuff.
Yep.
But the fact that they're getting that like 24/7, I think just makes SBS go wild. And I think it's responsible for a lot of really great growth. And that's why a lot of people who are like two-part dosing and they're like, oh, I'm dosing, but I'm not getting great growth. And I'm like, well, you're giving it calcium and you're giving it alkalinity, but there's other trace elements that you got to kind of put in there, you know, like the stuff that they sell that nobody really buys too much of, unless it's like an afterthought, like, oh, let me buy some of this molybdenum. Oh, let me buy some of
Right.
this strontium and boron. Or let me buy some.
Essential elements.
Yeah, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I'll put aquapower, and I'm like, that's just amino acids. You got to get the building blocks, and I think you get
There's
that out of
stuff
the
that
calcium
is
reactor.
in this media that's not even you can't even buy it. They can't even, you know what I mean? You can get stuff that's close, but you're not putting every single thing that, especially like reborn or anything. What's in a coral skeleton? Obviously, it needed that to build that. So when you melt that down, your other corals are like, dude, you're giving them like everything they need. They're like rewarding you with color and little furry tentacles. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm about right there. I'm about trying to get these guys fuzzed up, polyps out, going crazy. At least able to use the amino acids that I'm dosing. So that's what I'm like really focused on this trip around. because my goal with this tank was to go back to what I know in terms of filtration. That's carbon, a big skimmer, great return pump, lots of flow. In terms of biological filtration, I wanted to put something that'll keep making me pods. I wanted to put an area that was cryptic, where there was just a ton of live rock in there. Nobody's disturbing it. You're not messing with it. You're not pulling Chato off of it. You're not stirring it. You're not siphoning it out. None of that crap. And then lastly, I wanted to put a calcium reactor on that I know is giving me trace elements that I really can't test for unless I'm sending away ICP tests once a month.
Right.
But I wanted to put that online to keep that going.
Are those still $50 a pop?
Yeah, like $49.99. And then I hear that you got to pay to ship it too. You got to ship it over to them, and then you got to wait like a week or so before your tests are available online or something like that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I think there's something on the test or on the package when you send it away that you got to put on there, so hopefully people don't send away the package without getting the number or ID of the test or whatever, so that they can actually recall it.
Right.
But yeah, I've never done one before. I got one. I got one here, and I wanted to put the calcium reactor online and get everything to where I think everything is good, and then send a test away to see if I'm on point or off. But it's probably the only time I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do it just to say I did it, but would I do it all the time? No. I mean, I don't have crazy corals. I mean, I got a few high-end corals. I mean, I got some rainbow acan, little things, some chalices, whatever. I got a few little prized possessions, but everything is growing for me. So I'm happy. And as long as I'm happy, there's no reason for me to send that. You know what I mean? Now, if I was having problems and I couldn't, sometimes you just can't fix stupid. You know what I mean? Some people just don't listen, or they don't want to learn, and if those are the people that need to send that stuff out there. And then if they even want to follow the directions that they even tell them, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of people that they just you could tell them till you're blue in the face how to do stuff or how you're doing it and whatever, and they don't get it.
No. When somebody ever asks me for advice and I tell them something that I would do, I always give them options, right? And the first option I give them is the cheapest option every single time. And I say, okay, you don't have nutrients in your tank, start 2-part dosing. I recommend go with the BRS 2-part.
Yeah.
Don't go to AutoZone and buy some driveway heat and some mag flakes. Don't do that. They have other stuff in them that are not really great for reef. Spend the $40, get the BRS stuff. It's medical grade. You know it's going to be good. It's going to mix up perfectly clear, and it's going to look great, and it's going to work, right? That's the cheapest way. The next step up is maybe get a doser to make it easier on yourself, and then the king of all, I think, is the calcium reactor to make it all really easy for you. Now, if you choose not to do that, and then you're still complaining about not having success, at that point, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing else that I can obviously tell you that's going to make you invest or make you do what I'm suggesting. So at that point in time, I would just rather you do things the way that you feel is the right way to do it, and wish you the best of luck. But I'm not going to waste my breath anymore on you.
Right. Yep.
'Cause
Everybody's gone or what?
I don't know, probably. Actually, I'm about to sign off myself and go hit the sack. Tomorrow's a big day. I got to clean out this sand from the old tank because Salty John is coming to pick this up this weekend.
Oh, right on.
So Gotta make sure it's all the electronics and everything is out of there. I just got some sand in the bottom that I want to wet dry back up. And
Right.
I want to disconnect all of the plumbing, which is not a lot. It's not complicated. I use unions on everything, so just disconnect the plumbing so that he can, put everything in the sump so that he can just when he gets over here with the guys, it should take us less than a half hour to get the tank off the stand and into the truck or whatever.
Right on.
So that's going to be on its way to his house, and I'll have back my front area over here, and I can start on the next list of honey-do things that she wants me to do.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. But it was good
Cool,
talking to you,
man.
Definitely, you definitely shed some light for me, answer some questions about that reef bite. I gotta find somebody locally that I could see it in person before I decide whether I want to do it or not. But there's one thing I've been doing for a while is hanging on to a Radeon G4 that I have. I have 5 Radeons, and I've thought many, many times about taking the T5s off and just running Radeons. And then, because with the diffusers on the Radeons, I'm getting a really great spread right now in this tank.
Right.
With how my rock work is.
So what do you got, a Gen 4?
Gen 4. And I know with 5 Radeons, it would look extremely aesthetically pleasing with just the 5 of them over the tank. But I invested in the T5s, and I know why I invested in the T5s. And regardless of how unattractive I think it may look, that the corals are going to respond in a way that I want them to respond.
Right.
With the T5s. So that's why I'm like not.
I mean, you can always keep it. You never know. Something might happen to one of them, and then
you need a Gen 4 or whatever. But
yeah.
But I've been thinking, like, rather than sit on it and wait for Radeon to come out with something new, I might as well sell it while the selling is good. While the secondhand market is still ripe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Otherwise,
but what would I do with the money? Should I turn the money around and go and buy some really great corals at a really great price from a local guy that I know that's been kind of waiting for me to come back and pick up, a bunch of corals? Or do I flip it and pick up some reef brights, or, something like that? So I've been kind of on the fence about it, but I know when I sell it, I need to know what I'm going to do with the money, or I'm going to end up.
Yeah, because then it's just going to burn a hole in your pocket.
Right, exactly. So I need to have a direct plan of what I'm going to do, what step I'm going to take when I sell it. So that's why I haven't sold it yet. But it's boxed up, cleaned up, ready to go, and I'm just sitting on it. But I have a bunch of equipment, man. Like with this new Apex that I got two energy bars with it, the 832s.
Yeah.
And because they have ports for the waves and for FMM and for my pump and for my auto top off and everything on those EB832s, just from the EB8 itself, I'm saving like 7 plugs. 7 plugs because everything could get plugged into that power bar.
Right, definitely. That I want one so bad, dude. I want to eliminate everything.
So the fact that I can do that makes me really happy about doing it. But that just means I have a bunch of leftover parts because I have, a one link module plus the power brick that goes with it is $150. I have 2 of those. If I sold them for $100 a piece or $115 a piece, brand new, or basically new in box, that's $200. So already I'm like up to $800 in used equipment with just a Radion and those 2 1-links. That's not to mention pumps that I have, or dosers that I have, or lights that I have. So it's like I need to figure out what to do or what I'm going to do with this stuff, sell it, and then immediately get what I want, or else something stupid like a Worldwide Corals or Aqua SD or Jason Fox or some stupid live sale is going to come up, and I'm going to buy like 5 pink Floyds or some shit and just destroy my plans. So I need to know what I'm doing with it before I do it.
You got a lot of cool toys, man. I'm gonna have to hit you up on some of those.
Hey man, like I told you before, they all came from wheeling and dealing, bro. Like when I got the waves, I traded 2 Vortec MP40 quiet drives for 2 waves, a 1-link, and 2 AI Prime HDs, right? To match the price of the Vortex because they were brand new. And his waves were like 6 months old or something like that. So I got a great deal on that. And then I just traded my way up, like sold and traded.
Right.
So I got the equipment that I wanted. So
the 1-links and stuff like that, that's all compatible with the new
Apex, right?
Right on.
And even with the old Apex, because if you want to run waves on the old Apex, you need a 1-link.
Right.
But each 1-link can only support 3 pumps.
3 pumps?
3 pumps to 1-link.
Right.
Most people are going to have 4 pumps.
So you need 2.
Yeah. So you need 2 1-links. Well, if you go to buy a 1-link by itself, it's $150. So your best bet at that point is to say, all right, do I buy a 1-link for $150 and then 2 wave pumps at $160 or $199 a pump? Or do I just buy a whole other wave kit that comes for like $499 that comes with 2 pumps and a 1-link?
Right.
So you have those people who are not willing to pay $150 for a 1-link, but are willing to pay $100 for a 1-link. And I don't need the 1-link. You know what I mean? So it's a win for them and a win for me. I sell the 1-link, I get to keep the pumps. And they gain themselves a 1-link and can then go buy 2 used pumps for cheap. Hook them up and they're good to go.
Right. Yep.
So there's definitely a market for it.
Definitely.
So, anyway, it was good.
All right, Tristan.
I'll catch you later, bro.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye.